First of all, this is docket 3270 FR 2022, the application of Madison Gas and Electric for authority for its reconciliation of actual fuel costs to the authorized 2020 fuel cost plan. This is Michael Newmark, the administrative law judge for the PSC. And we are on Zoom. We have the applicant. Well, we'll go through appearances in a minute. Let's go off the record though, just for some logistics and some timing issues here. So I just wanted to mention we noticed this as a party and public hearing. So typically we do public first, but I don't see any members of the public in attendance right now. So we'll just skip over to the party session and we'll keep an eye on any public participants who join us. So at the end, we can have public comments. We can take public comments if necessary. We do have, it looked like from the parties' exchange of emails, there wasn't any cross for witnesses, but we do have questions from Commissioner Huebner. So we want to provide an opportunity for those. And because of some timing constraints, we want to make sure we can get those questions in before 11, which I don't think there'll be an issue really for that. I guess for MGE, I just wondered if there was any supplemental testimony that you'd planned, Sir rebuttal on the stand?
No, Your Honor. And what we can do to accommodate that time frame is, I think our thought process would be to put Ms. Scheller on first. And then I think if it's okay, we will just do verification by affidavits for Mr. Deneau and Mr. Schmidt, because it does not appear that Commissioner Huebner or any of the parties have any cross for them.
Yeah, I think we can proceed with that understanding. I think what I would propose is that we take Schiller first and then
what's up?
Move to Eider, witness Eider. That's the other witness that the commissioner has questions for, and then backtrack and see if there's anything else we need to follow up with the other witnesses, and then we can proceed with the normal process, normal order of things. So once we verify that there are no witnesses, we'll no questions for witnesses, we can proceed. But I want to keep them on the line until we're done with the commissioner's questions, in case there may be a better witness to answer something, and that kind of all those little details there. So I think we're good. So let's have appearances. We do have our service list that was provided to parties. We're just going to go through the list in alphabetical order and just get appearances on the record. So who do we have appearing for Citizens Utility Board? Oh, and we should be on the record for this. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Yeah. So for appearances, who do we have for Citizens Utility Board? I know there are a bunch of you connected, so. Maybe he dropped out. Let me let him back in.
I'm sorry. Were you looking for someone from Cub?
Yeah, we're doing appearances on the record, so we'll need the Cub representative to just state their appearance.
Yes. Good morning, Corey Singletary and Steve Keim for Citizens Utility Board. Dr. Keim is having some technology challenges. He will be joining us in a minute here.
Yeah, I'm just letting him in now. Okay, perfect. All right. And further down the list, Madison Gas and Electric, who's appearing for MGE?
Yes, Brian Kleinmeyer on behalf of MGE of Stafford Rosenbaum.
And for the PSC?
Zachary Peters appearing for the commission, Your Honor.
And for Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group?
Yes, good morning. Steve Heinzen on behalf of WEG.
All right. So any corrections or additions we need for the service list? No? Okay.
Your Honor, Steve Keim from Cub has now joined.
Okay. I see you there, Steve. I don't have you on the list, so let's have you file a request to a notice of appearance for you on IRF, and then I'll put you on the service list.
Okay, I thought Ms. Ferris did that, but
was that included in there?
I thought she did, but we can certainly do that if that's what you would like.
Well, yeah, in just the effort of time for the hearing, why don't you just file that, and I'll put you on the list.
And do you need that filed this moment or after the fact?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let me mention, like I said, this is the public and party hearing. We are collecting comments from the public. So we don't have any comments on file at this time, as far as I know, but we are still going to be collecting public comments until Thursday, June 22nd. That'll be through the commission's website or by US mail, and information on how to do that is on the notice. So for anyone who may see the recording of the hearing before the deadline, that's opportunity is available. And just check the notice of hearing either on the screen share here or on the commission's website. So that's all we need for that information. Let's move on to our list of evidence. Okay, so I just have I have a live version here, my version. So I just wondered if there are any questions well, let me say first that I did see the Callan 2 exhibit and the ITER direct errata. So those will, I actually had a issue with the exhibit, but we want to just make sure the errata is incorporated into the refile direct. Otherwise, any questions or concerns about the comments, or did I miss a document that should be on the list?
Your Honor, for MGE, we will definitely make the changes that you have indicated for Mr. Weinert. I just wanted to clarify the last line of your first comments, revised with the correct DAB, deferred account balance. Is that what DAB stands for?
That's what I meant it to say, yeah.
I think there might be a few other lines where we'll be making that same change, but everything will be consistent. The only question I had for you was within Mr. Weinert's testimony, and actually within Ms. Scheller's testimony, we make a reference to exhibit MGE application, and we've actually now filed exhibit MGE application -R. Should we make that change also?
That's not necessary. I mean, if you're refiling the Weinert, you can make it in there, but I wouldn't. You don't need to go backwards and refile just to update that revised indicator.
Okay.
It'll be understood that the one that's in the record is the one that we're dealing with now.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah. Any other?
Yes, Your Honor. From commission staff, I wanted to note Andrew Eder, in addition to the errata submitted that will be incorporated into the revised direct, will have some further minor revisions that we'll discuss today when verifying his testimony that will be incorporated into his revised direct as well. Okay. And then I also wanted to note that Mr. Mailata's exhibits 2 and 3 were not submitted or sponsored by his direct testimony in this proceeding. So he will only be sponsoring the first exhibit for this fuel reconciliation docket. Okay, so just to clarify, they weren't offered in this, were they? No, his revised direct testimony was changed to only sponsor the first exhibit. So I apologize for that confusion. It's been sorting through all of that testimony and exhibits to come to the sort of correct sponsorship of exhibits for the different proceedings. Okay, but they were filed originally in the docket. I believe so, yes, Your Honor. And I think originally sponsored prior to revised direct submission. Okay. So, all right. So I'll just strike them from the list at this time. And we'll consider those numbers already used up. So, I have that question about whether we need to file a Mailata 4 or not. And so we'll just keep the number 4 if we need to use it. But understood, Your Honor. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
Your Honor, just this is not necessarily on the offered evidence list, but just we had a response that we might be able to provide to Mr. Heber or Commissioner Heber's questions, and I just wanted to make you aware of that before we go on the record.
Yes. Okay. I hope you do. So yeah, that's fine. So we'll just, when we have the commissioner ask those questions, that'll be the time for you to respond. there's anything else. I thought there was something else we wanted to discuss here, but I don't remember. Oh, yes, Callan 2. So I noticed Callan 2 this morning, and I just want to put that on the screen here. So we'll just not, I'm gonna, since you didn't get a chance to see my comment that's in the new version of the offered evidence list, I just wanted to ask this is the printed version. Okay, so I wanted you to print out which is what you did. Okay, but the only problem is these links are live.
Yeah. Yes,
yeah.
We can make them dead links. Is that what you're asking, Your Honor?
Well, it's not. That would be fine. The other option is to include on the cover page the disclaimer. It's the new process. Just have a disclaimer on the cover page stating that the links are not offered for the record.
Oh, okay. We can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I didn't know. I clicked the link and I saw what the page looked like, and I was like, oh no, they can't. And then I forgot you actually did use the printed version.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. At
All
least.
right, well, we will make that change with the note. Thank you.
Okay. Great. All right, that's what I needed to do on there. Okay, so if there's no other issues with the list, so we're on the record, right? Yeah, thanks. No other issues with the list. I can say that the documents listed on the offered evidence list will be received pending witness verification and the corrections as indicated on the offered evidence list. So just thanks for working through that. At this point, we're going to have the witnesses called who that Commissioner Huebner has some questions for. So I believe that's Scholler first for MGE.
Yeah, so we at MGE would call Abby Scheller to the witness stand.
Okay, thank you. All right. Witness Scheller, please raise your right hand and just do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Do.
Okay.
Please state your name and position.
Abby Scheller, lead forecasting energy analyst.
Ms. Scheller, did you file 8 pages of rebuttal testimony in this docket, which rebuttal testimony includes both a public and confidential version?
Yes.
Did you file and sponsor 2 exhibits as part of your rebuttal testimony?
Yes.
Were the 2 exhibits prepared by you or under your direction?
Yes.
As part of your rebuttal testimony, did you adopt as your own testimony the 5 pages of direct testimony previously filed by Mr. Carl Weinert on behalf of MGE in this docket?
Yes.
And also as part of your rebuttal testimony, did you adopt as your own exhibits the 3 exhibits previously sponsored by Mr. Weinert in his testimony?
Yes.
And as far as you know, or I'm sorry, as far as you are aware, were those exhibits prepared by Mr. Weinert or under his direction?
Yes.
And as far as you are aware, is the information contained in those exhibits accurate?
Yes.
If I asked you here under oath the questions that are included in your pre-filed rebuttal testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
And is it the case that you are also verifying the pre-filed testimony of Mr. Weinert?
Yes.
As far as you are aware, is the information contained in Mr. Weinert's pre-filed testimony truthful and accurate, subject to the changes that will be made based on the comments in the offered evidence list?
Yes.
Your Honor, we have no additional questions at this time. Ms. Scheller, across.
Okay, thanks. So let's start with the Commissioner's questions.
Hi, good morning, Ms. Scheller. I'm Commissioner Tyler Huebner. Thanks for being available to answer my questions. I have 2 lines of questioning based on the exhibits that you're sponsoring. And the first is in Exhibit MGE Weinert 1. And I'll have the judge pull that up because I've got some specific pages. So looking first at page 5 of this PDF, and there's a couple of charts on that page, Judge. And that one right there. So just as I was looking at the evidence in the case, it stuck out to me that it looks to me like May and June And then September, October, and November are the months with the largest variances, all of which have over a 20% above the forecasted fuel cost. Is that how you read this chart as well?
It is, yes.
Okay. So then, Judge, if you could scroll down to the 9th page, and this is the exhibit pertaining to Elm Road Generating Station Unit 1. And I have some questions about the capacity factors for some of the months that I was talking about before. So for this particular ERG's Unit 1, I'm looking first at the June of 2022, and it notes that the capacity factor, the actual capacity factor for that month was 25%, whereas the authorized was 68%. Do you know why the capacity factor was only 25% in that month?
I believe they're unplanned outages. I can't be certain because we're not the operators of that unit, but that's what I believe.
Okay. And then, do you have any knowledge? I saw that the October and November are sort of flip-flopped, where October was expected to be 89%, but performed at 24. And then in contrast, November was only planned to be at 42%, but ended up at 92%. Do you have any understanding of why those months had those numbers?
I believe those are also rescheduled in unplanned outages.
Do you have any sense of what the reason for the unplanned outages were?
Not off the top of my head. You have to.
Okay.
Not the operators, who don't have all that information.
Okay. All right. So then moving to the next page is a similar chart, but this is for ERG's Unit 2. So for this month as well, June was an expected or an authorized 66%, but an actual of 36%. Do you have any insight on that particular month?
I believe that was also an unplanned outage.
Okay. And then finally for this unit were September, October, and November. I'll just loop those together. So for September, the expected was 90% and the actual was 17%. For October, the expected was 88% and the actual was 0%. And for November, the expected was 87%, but the actual was -1%. Do you have a sense of what happened in those 3 months for Unit 2?
I believe that was one rescheduled outage that was planned after the budget was set, and it was a very long one.
Okay. Do you know what the primary reason of that outage was?
I don't.
Okay. Okay. My next line of questioning then is switching gears, and that is related to MGE's response to data request PSC ITER number 1, and that judges in the data request response.
Yes. Okay.
PDF. Yeah.
I was just curious, before we move to switch gears,
Yeah.
Can I just interject with one question?
Please.
I was just curious about the ERG's negative capacity factor that was on the previous exhibit here for November. Do you have any information about what it means to have a negative capacity factor?
I also, just from my general knowledge of how these work, there's sometimes station service where it would come out where the unit would actually take energy small. Yeah.
But you don't have any direct knowledge of that for this in this situation? Correct. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So ITER 1, you could give me the reference number for that. Take advantage of having that. This is the public.
Yeah, 469-188. Yep, you got it.
Okay, I think I'm in the right place here.
Yep, so just for the record then, we're looking at PSC reference 469188, and we're looking at the tab ACE or ACE 1.6. And in particular, I was looking at rows 8 through 13 on this. It's average monthly bills for residential customers. And the monthly charge that's listed under grid connection shows as $1.50. And my understanding was that the residential grid connection charge was $15 per month. More in line with what we see below that for general services, $23.90. So is the $1.50 correct, or should that be $15?
It should be $15.
Okay. And so then that number flows through to the table that is slightly below Judge. This table, rows 24 through 31, the estimated residential bill impacts. Because this was an Excel document, I was able to change that number myself and saw that the percentages do change. And so I guess I would just ask that would be refiled as a corrected version. And Judge, I don't know if you have anything else on that.
No, they can certainly do that. I'm going to
Okay.
file a revised AC 1.6. Probably the best thing to do is just replace the entire filing. So if you can include the same responses that are in this Excel spreadsheet, and then we'll need to replace the link for in the data request exhibit that updates the link so it points to the new version.
Yes, we'll do that, Your Honor.
Okay, great. So yeah, so for the exhibit refile, that'll be staff's job. So just so everyone's on the same page here. Okay, well, go ahead, Commissioner. Anything else?
That was all my questions I had for Ms. Scheller. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm just curious in terms of changing the average monthly bill. I think the effect of changing that grid connection charge will change the average monthly bill, which then flows through to the estimated residential bill impact. So do we know if the correct percentages were reflected in terms of the application and the notice to customers, or did we have the incorrect percentages presented?
If you just give me 1 second, I will look at
Trying to do the same thing. It's not probably gonna be.
Exhibit Weiner 2 is the customer notice.
Okay.
In the customer notice, a dollar amount of 8.7, approximately 8.7 million was identified, but a percentage was not identified. So the information in the notice would still be accurate.
Okay, great. So this is Weiner 2.
That
So estimated bill increase for 500 kilowatt hours would be dollar.
that number may be a little off then, but the number in the opening paragraph would still be accurate.
Oh, the total amount, right? Okay, the total amount requested.
Yeah, and I'm being told that the 144 would still be a good number. Accurate.
Okay, so who could tell us that?
I think we could call Mr. Deneau as a witness to confirm that, Your Honor.
Okay, well, I think as long as we get the update in at this point, then the commission can decide whether the notice was effective. But once we get let's just get the accurate number on the record, and then we can take it from there. I don't think we need to characterize the notice at this time as one way or another.
Okay.
All right. So, okay, great. So that's all of our Schiller questions from Commissioner Huebner. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your
Okay,
Honor.
great, thanks. And so let's continue with cross with this witness. I think the time it's 10:26. I think we can take cross from this witness. Any other questions for the witness? No. Okay, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So excuse this witness and we'll just jump to witness Eider.
Yes, Your Honor, Commission would call Andrew Eider to the stand.
See you there. All right, raise your right hand. You swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I'm having trouble hearing you. You look like you're unmuted, but I'm not sure what. Nope, still can't hear you. I think my microphone has a separate mute button right on the mic, so I don't know if there's something on your device you might want to look to.
How's that?
That's better. Great. Thanks.
Okay, great.
So let me swear you in. You swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right.
And please state your name for the record.
Andrew Eider.
And what is your position at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin?
I'm a public utility rate analyst.
And how are you involved in this docket?
I filed testimony and an exhibit. I analyzed the applicant's proposed fuel surcharge adjustments as well as the calculations of the applicant's surcharge rates.
And does the testimony that you filed in this docket consist of direct testimony and an errata to that direct testimony?
Yes, it does.
And the exhibit that you filed for this docket was a single exhibit titled Exhibit PSC Eider 1?
Yes.
And are the statements and representations in the testimony and exhibit that you filed in this case true and correct?
Yes, aside from those notes made earlier in the hearing, and I can go into more detail on those if you would like.
Please do. What are the additions or modifications to your testimony or exhibit?
Yes, so on direct Eider, page 5, line 10, it reads as a percentage decrease over present rates. That should read as a percentage increase over present rates. And then also on page 5, table 2, the residential surcharge percentages will need to be updated as a result of just this prior discussion here.
Were there any other additions or modifications to your testimony or exhibit at this time?
I don't believe there will be any revisions to my exhibits, as I don't believe that the percentages discussed in table 2 of the testimony are included in that exhibit. The only other changes to my testimony are minor reference corrections.
Thank you, Your Honor. The witness is available for cross-examination.
Okay, great. Let's start with Commissioner Huebner. Go ahead.
Great, thank you. And I think you answered most of my questions. It really just was an understanding here as we look at table 2. The percentages kind of in parentheses there, are those supposed to be increases or decreases, or is that something you can correct when you refile?
Yes, those are all increases.
Okay.
All the values in table 1 and table 2 are positive.
Okay, got it. Sometimes in mathematics, when you put numbers in parentheses, it denotes a negative, not a positive. So that's why I was confused.
Yeah, particularly with it saying decrease right above that table. So I definitely see that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
My final question, I think then, is just to maybe double check the percentages between the columns labeled October 23 through September 24, and then January 24 through December 2024, because it would seem to me, based on table 1 above, the highest total amount is in that rightmost column. So then to me, correspondingly, the highest, per monthly bill impact for both residential and general service would be the rightmost column as well. I don't know if you have any comments on that, or if you can just recalculate it for a revised filing.
Yeah, so I think that results from the assumption that an RG1 customer uses 500 kilowatt hours per month, while the sales forecasts for
got it.
2023, and then for the not yet or not authorized forecasts for all of 2024 are included in the exhibit, but the assumption still just stays at that flat 500.
Got it. So essentially the sales forecast for 2024 is slightly higher, and
Yes.
that spreads the per kilowatt hour and the percentage
Yes.
over a wider number of kilowatt hours. That's very helpful. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all my questions for you. Thank you very much. Judge, I would like to ask commission staff, I'm not sure if it would be Witness Field or Witness Mylata, to just, if they have any insights on my questions related to ERGs, that Ms. Scheller didn't have a lot of insight because they're not the owner. I didn't know if either one of them might be able to provide that, some insight on those months.
Okay.
And I've got some time here, so they don't have to be called right away, but just wanted to put that out there for your consideration. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think what we're witnessing here is a bit of a logistical issue, which I hope we will correct next year. And that is that we're having a part owner of a facility that's not the operator proceed first with their hearing, rather than having the operator proceed first and then take the other owners next in terms of the timing of the fuel reconciliation and really the fuel cost plan as well, filings. I think we probably would alleviate your concerns here if we had Webco, as the operator of ERGs, having their process go first and then take MGE next, and Webco could have answered your questions at the beginning of the process, and then we could take those answers and make sure that they apply accurately to MGE, but we'd have that information presented to you first if that timing of those cases occurred in the way I consider more appropriate. So we're going to work with staff and the utilities to hopefully rearrange the timing of these cases so that we'll have the operators going first. With all due consideration for everything else, but that would be my goal, is to switch the order of these cases. And so in terms of ERGs, I believe it's probably Witness Mylata may have some insights on that. However, there may be issues with confidentiality across utilities. So I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to reveal today, even if we went into confidential session, but we can try it and see how much he can give us as it applies to MGE. So why don't we do Mylata next and see if we can get some answers to those. So go ahead, Zach.
Your Honor, the commission would call Klaus Mylata to the stand.
All right, well, let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I will.
All right, go ahead.
Please state your name for the record.
Klaus H. Mylata.
What is your position at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin?
I'm a public utility financial analyst.
And how are you involved in this docket?
I participated largely in the review of the Columbia coal issue, but Andrew and I worked together on other stuff too, but my chief role was on the Columbia problem.
And did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony in this docket consisting of both a public version of that testimony and a confidential version of that testimony?
I did.
And did you also file or cause to be filed an exhibit marked Exhibit PSC Mylata 1, which existed in both a public and confidential version?
I did.
And are the statements and representations in the testimony and exhibits you filed in this case true and correct?
They are.
Do you have any additions or modifications to your testimony or exhibits at this time?
There will be some minor references I think have to be changed on either my direct or perhaps my sir rebuttal, but that's all I know of.
Mr. Mylata, were you present or did you hear the questioning of Commissioner Huebner for witness Scheller?
I did.
And did you hear Commissioner Huebner's additional concerns or interest in hearing further information on ERGs Unit 1 and 2?
I did.
Do you have any insight or additional information that you can share concerning Commissioner Huebner's concerns as it pertains to MGE and that is not confidential?
Well, by audit, since I'm the lead on the WEPCO one, part of that audit is looking at the units when they don't operate as forecasted. So certainly it's discussed to some extent in the WEPCO case, and I know a little bit about what the story was, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say it in this case. So.
Your Honor, at this time, the witness is available for cross-examination or further questioning regarding Commissioner Huebner's concerns.
Any follow-up questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask any, if he's not allowed to answer them.
Well, this could be tricky. I know this is.
Yeah.
We can go into confidential, but yeah, Attorney Kleinmeyer, you have.
Well, too, I mean, if we go to confidential, I'm not even sure if we get to participate. And then I think that raises some due process issues for us to have information in our record that we can't even hear.
Yes, I mean, I guess the issue would be in this case is, you know, is there, well, I guess I don't want to state the issue particularly, but I do understand your concern that you may not be able to participate depending on what witness Mylata has to say. And I mean, one solution to this is really to wait for the WEPCO case. And I think at that point, Commissioner Huebner, your answers will be, your questions will be fully answered. At least I hope they will be, to the extent the parties and staff are able to investigate all the matters before them properly. So, I mean, we could basically, we're flagging that as a concern and something that may be more appropriate to address in the WEPCO case. Are you comfortable with that, Commissioner?
I think so at this point. Yep. I think that sounds like an appropriate path forward. Okay. Thanks.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, hi. Sure, no, thank you. I guess the question I would have is the information that is being asked, or for Mr. Mylata to discuss, is it in the first instance, is it confidential? And if it is not confidential, it would seem like we could discuss it in this case. Maybe there are some arguments that it's not relevant. I think that it probably is if we're dealing with ERGs, but maybe that's the first question is, hey, is this confidential information or not?
Right. And Attorney Kleinmeyer, go ahead.
Well, I mean, to get at the relevancy issue, I mean, I appreciate why Commissioner Huebner wants the information, but at the end of the day, the test in this case is, were the costs incurred by MGE prudent? And at this point, we're contemplating putting in information from another docket that we have not seen when we've already testified that we're not the operator. And so it raises the confidentiality issue and also a relevancy issue from the standpoint of, I guess to me, it goes back to your comment that we agree with, that in fact, we should probably be last in the fuel reconciliation process because we are neither the operator of Columbia nor ERGs. And then, I mean, I think at that point, then we may be able to work out something with the other parties. So at least there's not a confidentiality issue so that we can actually get access to the information and then be able to ask questions and answer questions in the same way as the other parties.
And
Yeah,
Your Honor, if I could jump in
Yeah,
just really quickly, I
absolutely.
would just say, or just request, if we are going to explore sort of the boundaries of this issue with witness Mailata and, opening him up for more questions and are not sort of pushing this off until the WEPCO proceeding, I would request a short recess so that I myself can sort of familiarize myself with those boundaries better before diving into that questioning as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we're gonna have time for a recess to keep the commissioner on with us, and I do want, I think to the extent we can do that, I'd like to get this done in the time frame he has available. I guess I don't know, I just wondered if there may be some just general reasons for the change in planned outages versus unplanned outages that may be both public and available for and the extent that those numbers are reflected in this case, I think they are relevant just to know the reason for the planned outage versus unplanned outage, the change in schedule. If that's something that's public, I think we could get that on the record at least. Witness Mailata, is that something you think you could share?
Well, I guess I don't remember the June situation.
Mhm. Well, first,
Well,
is that something publicly available or?
Well, I guess one way of saying it, if I discuss the December situation, for instance, my knowledge of that particular situation comes out of an answer to one of our general data requests.
Uh-huh.
I believe it was filed confidential, though. I don't remember
Okay.
without looking, of course. So I guess generally speaking, that the December one was an unexpected event, and it forced a long outage. I guess anybody. I don't know if that's super secret, but that's. Hope I can say that. I guess so.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna rule that we're gonna have to skip over this line of questioning because of the timing, and I guess one reason being, probably the most important reason being, is because WEPCO case is proceeding after MGE. Not really sure if we have fully vetted that issue. I don't really want to put witnesses on the spot to answer something that they may not be fully informed about, and that would just confuse the record even more than possible than we can possibly imagine at this time. The extent that it's relevant or not, I think MGE certainly does pay the costs of whatever occurred at ERGS, but whether it's responsible for those costs or not, I don't know if we're prepared. We don't have a record really engaging the question before us. So that also seems like a difficult issue to pursue at the moment, as we sit here today. So I did want to state that utilities in these cases should be aware that there are mechanisms by which we can share information that's confidential, that information that's utility specific and confidential between utilities. And that the way we would do that is an attorney's eyes only confidentiality agreement using a third party expert. That's something that I think we may need to be implementing earlier on in the schedule of these cases. So that's another reform for next year. I think we should be pursuing, is to come up with a process by which utilities are sharing this information, maybe to a central gatekeeper or analyst, or you can use third-party analysts with attorney's eyes only privileges. I think the latest model where we were involved with doing that was in the Vote Solar declaratory ruling case last year. We had a very carefully drawn separation of multiple utility information that different utilities couldn't see information from other utilities, but we were able to work that out pretty easily. So that mechanism is available, and I think we will be implementing that in the next round of fuel cost and fuel plan cases. So so keep that in mind. I think we can cure that. So I recognize the due process issue, but I think we can cure that very easily with a third party attorney's eyes only confidentiality process. But having said that, I think we may be too late at this time to pursue questions about ERGs in any detail in the MGE case today. And hopefully we will get the answers we need in the Webco case. And what the commission does with those then is another issue. So I'm not sure if this needs to be we could consider this as a order point or a condition, or I don't, in terms of the timing of the commission's order in these cases, in these reconciliation cases, maybe they will hold them and then, reconcile them all at the same time so that adjustments can be made reflecting decisions in other cases that relate to other utilities. So we'll have to see how that works. But I think at this point, I don't think we can really pursue questions on ERGs any more than we have, just given the situation and the timing that we're in. So are there any other questions for witness Mailata?
I don't have any, Judge. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for participating. Anyone else? No. Okay, so I just did want to clarify. I did have that issue with what we have marked. We haven't marked it yet on the record, but I've identified a Mailata 4 as a possible exhibit, and that was the reference that witness Mailata made to the 2022 monitored fuels report that's in another docket, the GF docket, I believe. So I was just curious, witness Mailata, is the report in particular already offered for the record, perhaps as part of the application, and we can refer to it that way, or does that need to be offered as an exhibit?
Judge Junker, I missed. Are you asking about the monitored fuels report that I referenced in?
Yes. Yes.
That, of course, is a standard monthly public information report that's filed. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I didn't do with it anything other than refer to that publicly filed document, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, just in terms of referencing it and making it useful in this case, it would need to be an exhibit in this case. So, Attorney Kleinmeyer, did you have a comment on that?
I think it may be exhibit 1 or 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's just.
Oh, 1. I'm sorry, 1 exhibit minor 1, because 2 is the customer notice.
Right. I figured it was in there somewhere. I just wasn't sure the way it was being referenced. Okay. So
yeah, there it is.
This is okay for the month of this. So it goes by. Is this it's the entire document? Is the 2022 fuels report?
That's my understanding. I think if you go to the first page after the cover page, it was actually submitted to Mr. Mailata by MGE.
Okay.
Just if I could interject here.
Yeah.
This is a problem we have with 3 co-owners. That particular report is for the MGE part of the world, and of course there's another one for Webco and Power and Light. And I used all 3 for what exhibit 1. So I guess we have this battle with again, it's public documents, of course, but I'm glad to see that one is filed. I don't have, as far as I know, the Power and Light and Webco version of that report.
Yeah, and but that's not what are you referring to in testimony? Are you referring to the?
Well, I say monitored fuels report, and that in this case it was for all 3 utilities. It wasn't just one of them. So we have that little. It's confusing for me too, of course. But so if the MGE part of what you're asking for is good with what they put in, I guess we should put in the the WEPCO and Power and Light version again, public of the same report. I guess that's what you're thinking, maybe.
Well, I was just curious. Let's see.
It's gonna be down. It's gonna be like the last paragraph, isn't it? Where I describe how I did the math.
So
It's probably up a little higher.
have the
Oops,
page.
sorry.
I have the page site here. Hang on, let me.
Yeah. It's and I think I don't remember what I put in it, but I certainly described it anyways.
Oh, don't. Okay.
Try that last. It's a little higher.
Line for
Yeah, you're right there. See that it says.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Will
And
you
that's
yeah, go ahead.
that's only in the MGE part, of course. That table 1 has got all 3 of them on them, you know. So I think we're okay here because I used that as the reference for this specific testimony.
Yeah. Okay. And that's really what I was hoping to clarify. So if we can just if you just want to change, you can change this parentheses just to reference the Weinert 1 exhibit.
Okay.
That would just clarify that it's in the record.
All right. That's
Okay.
that's good. Okay.
Oh,
Thanks.
great. That's good enough. Perfect. Okay, so I think we're done. Any redirect for witness Mylata?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So let's back up. And I believe we have back to our regularly scheduled program here. We can have any witness applicants that any applicant witnesses that need to take the stand, we can take them now. Or we can, if there are no cross questions for the remaining witnesses, we can take them, have them verified by affidavit. So any questions for Danu? And any questions for Schmidt? Okay. All right, so we'll move on to.
Your Honor?
Yeah, yes,
Hi.
go ahead.
Sorry, excuse me. I have a question. I'm not sure who the appropriate witness would be.
Okay.
But I'll just ask, I would like to ask somebody whether or not, somebody for MGE, whether it regularly receives information from the operator of ERGs and the operator of Columbia about the generation at those facilities.
Yeah,
So it's really a question of, do you regularly receive that information? And I guess if yes, I don't know if I'll have any further questions beyond that, but if not, if there is some dramatic variance like there seems to be this year, do they follow up with the utility that is operating in the facility?
we can put someone on the witness stand to answer that question, Your Honor.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
so call that witness, please.
We would call Scott Schmidt.
Okay, all right. See you there. So raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Please state your name and position.
Scott Schmidt, Director of Customized Energy Products and Services.
And Mr. Schmidt, did you submit 7 pages of rebuttal testimony in this docket, which rebuttal testimony includes both a public and confidential version?
Yes.
And did you file and sponsor 2 exhibits as part of your rebuttal testimony, which two exhibits both include a public and confidential version?
Yes.
Were the 2 exhibits prepared by you or under your direction?
Yes.
If I asked you here under oath the questions that are included in your pre-filed rebuttal testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Your Honor, no additional questions. Mr. Schmidt is available for cross-examination.
Okay, Attorney Heinzen, you had questions?
Sure. Thank you. Good morning, Steve Heinzen, representing the Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group. Just want to ask you some questions following up, I guess, on the communications that MGE has with, start with, I guess, ERGs, with the operator of ERGs as to its operations. Does MGE share information or receive information from WEPCO on a regular basis as to how the utility is operating the facility?
We do.
And so you would receive after the close of the month, some information that would explain why there was an outage at a facility if there was one?
We do.
Okay. So earlier this morning, were you here when there were some some discussions about the, I guess the dramatic, well, called dramatic variance in the generation in December?
Yes.
And what do you do with the information that you receive?
We will inform internally our energy supply folks as far as what they should expect if there are planned outages. If it's unplanned, obviously we're reactionary at that point.
And I guess as a matter of course, does MGE take any steps if there is an unplanned outage to explore the reasons why the outage was unplanned?
Yes.
What would those steps be?
I guess an objection, but it's more of a comment. Are you talking about after they found out or when they found out that there is going to be an unplanned outage? Has the outage occurred yet? I guess I'm asking from a timing perspective for purposes of the question.
It would be when MGE discovers that there will be or has been an unplanned outage. I'm guessing if it's unplanned, most likely it was learned after the fact, but perhaps not.
So is the question then, this is after the outage? We've learned after the outage has occurred?
After MGE learns that there has been an outage that was an unplanned outage, or that there will be an unplanned outage. What does MGE do? What does MGE do with that information?
All right. So should I answer that question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So obviously if it's an unplanned outage, we can't plan for that. So that's really not an instance. But if there is an unplanned outage, what we'll look for is context. So what we would like to know is really the timing related to that, so that we can make our tactical plans in the interim, depending on the context of the outage.
And do you ever take steps to determine whether or not the operator was acting prudently in the operation of the facility that led to, that resulted in an unplanned outage?
No, what we do is we have a relationship, obviously that's been a long-term relationship. And with that relationship, the operator shares with us long-term, operating plans. And so any type of concern we would have with the operator, it would be discussed over the years of our relationship. So we've had no concerns with the operator at Elm Road.
Okay. And is that true also then of the operation of Columbia?
Yes. I mean, we receive information. We'll react to that information as it's provided, and it does provide us with context, but we've had no significant concerns relative to the operation of either of those operators.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Any other cross for the witness?
Yeah, Judge, I have a question. This is Commissioner Hebner.
Okay. Yeah. Could you turn your screen on?
Yes, sorry about that.
No problems. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with this witness. As he indicated, he may be aware of some reports, and so I didn't know if he might be in a position to respond at all to the month of June for both Unit 1 and Unit 2, and then for Unit 2, the months of September, October, and November. the actual capacity factor differed so much from the authorized for those months.
Sure. So I don't have with me that information relative to the earlier outages. As far as the more significant outage for Unit 2 at Elm Road, I am aware of what the instance is, or at least a portion of the reason for that outage. I mean, when you take an outage, oftentimes the operator will take advantage of that outage to do multiple types of repairs that they might have planned either earlier if they know the outage is coming, or they might move aspects of maintenance up. So I don't have a complete list of what all that outage was, but I do have information relative to a major component of that created the duration. I just don't know whether I can share this at this time. I could share in very general terms. But
Why don't you start with that, and we could go into closed. This is information MGE has. So if the interveners have signed confidentiality agreements, then we can allow them into a closed session as well. But why don't you start with the general aspect of what you know?
Okay, there was a major component that experienced some stress concerns, and so relative to that major component, it was identified early enough where the operator was able to make some plans that it wasn't imminent, but it was a concern over the next few years that a change would need to take place relative to this major component. And so the operator worked with all diligence and speed to receive a replacement for that major component, and then to take that outage. And again, there was an outage that was planned that are components of outages that were moved into this window as well, but it really relates to a significant piece of equipment that needed to be replaced. And so they took that outage to do that.
Well,
That's very helpful. And then I don't know if it's in the record, kind of what financial impact that had on the overall fuel costs. During those months, presumably because ERGS 2 wasn't operational, either additional units or market purchases. Maybe we'll start with that question. Is that what would backfill the energy needs of MGE? You would either buy energy off the market or utilize other generation units to provide the energy that you might have expected from ERGS Unit 2 in those fall months of 2022.
I would assume that yes, we would have had to take other low cost solutions, whatever our lowest cost options were at the time.
Okay.
So
yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other further questions. Thank you for the response you were able to give, though. I think that helped to answer my question.
Great. You're welcome.
So I did have a follow-up for you, Witness Schmidt. When did you receive the information that there'd be an unplanned outage for ERGS 2? Is that, do you know the timing of that?
I don't have the timing.
Those are records you do have, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's emails that were sent out.
Okay. And I'm just curious, when you are made aware of an unplanned outage from an operator, generally speaking, the response that MGE takes to backfill that energy, as Commissioner Huebner described it, that's completely up to MGE, right? That's MGE's decision how to replace that energy.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we obviously have limited choices, but yes, we do have to supply energy for our customer needs. So we do have to replace it. Don't have to come up with a tactical plan to do so.
Okay. And if I can be more clear, you don't rely on the operator to supply any of the energy that is not being met because of an unplanned outage.
No, we rely on the operator to, with all haste, make repairs or to operate the facility at its maximum safe capability. Not all outages require a full, shutdown. So what we want to do is do what's financially optimal while being safe for, for plant employees.
Okay, but there's no expectation that the operator is going to supply the energy that it can't supply through the joint owned plant.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's all I have. Any other cross follow-ups from this? No, and redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, great. All right, well, thanks very much. You're excused.
Thank you.
So we were just about to excuse the MGE witnesses. I guess we Danu would be the last. Danu would be our last one. I think we've already excused Danu. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page there because we had some surprises here. All right, so let's take Citizens Utility Board next.
Thank you, Your Honor. Citizens Utility Board calls Ted Callan to the stand.
All right, I see you there. So raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Mr. Callan, please state your name for the record.
Ted Callan.
And where are you employed and in what position?
I'm employed at the Citizens Utility Board of Wisconsin as an analyst.
And did you file in this proceeding direct, rebuttal, and surrebuttal testimony, with the rebuttal being in two versions, a public and a confidential version?
I did.
And did you also file two exhibits associated with that testimony?
I did.
And if I ask the questions today that's contained in the pre-filed information, would your answers be the same?
They would be.
Okay. Mr. Callan is available for cross.
Any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
No? All right. Thanks, you're excused.
Thank you.
So next is Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group.
Yes, good morning. I will call Mr. Todd Stewart to the stand, please.
Okay, I see you there. Raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, could you please state your name for the record, Mr. Stewart?
Todd Stewart.
And did you prepare and cause to be filed direct testimony in this proceeding?
I did.
If I were to ask you today, while you were under oath, would your answers as set forth in your earlier filed testimony remain the same?
Yes, they would.
Okay. Mr. Stewart is available for cross-examination.
All right, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Was that a no? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, thanks. Okay, you're excused. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, commission staff.
Commission would call Andrew Field to the stand.
All right. Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Please state your name for the record.
Andrew Field.
What is your position at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin?
I am a public utility auditor.
And how are you involved in this docket?
I was the assigned case coordinator and lead analyst.
Did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony and surrebuttal testimony in this docket?
Yes.
Did you file or cause to be filed an exhibit marked Exhibit PSC Field 1?
Yes.
And are the statements and representations in the testimony and exhibit you filed in this case true and correct?
Yes.
Do you have any additions or modifications to your testimony or exhibits at this time?
Yes. In addition to the issues already noted on the offered evidence list, there is one error in the surrebuttal testimony.
And what is that error?
Okay, on let's see. Yes, on page 2, line 19. The question asks, does this conclude your direct testimony? That should say, does this conclude your sir rebuttal testimony?
Do you have any other additions or modifications to your testimony or exhibit at this time?
No.
Your Honor, the witness is available for cross-examination.
Okay, thank you. I must be slipping there. Didn't catch that one. Any questions for this witness? Nothing? All right. Thank you very much. You're excused.
Thank you.
So I think we have the other witnesses have already been already affirmed their testimony, I believe, if I remember correctly. I did want to mention, I think I heard witness Mailata state during the question and answer that something related to his sir rebuttal testimony. And I just want to make sure that I'm not missing, or maybe I misheard him, but maybe I'm missing something. I just wanted to make sure, just to confirm that he did not file sir rebuttal in this case. All right.
That's correct.
I did not. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm got everything here. So, okay. So just some housekeeping. So I did delete the reference to Mailata 4. Just want to correct the citation in the Mailata Direct. And otherwise, there's just the corrections we've noted previously. We'll be expecting those. And otherwise, I think we have everything we need. Did anyone have any outstanding issues to address? No, and just want to be true to my word here. I'm going to check our participant list to make sure there's no members of the public trying to get in here. I haven't seen anyone knocking on our Zoom door yet, but so it doesn't appear that there are any members of the public waiting to testify. So we will not have any public comments live, but we will still accept written comments. And the deadline for that's Thursday. So make sure anyone listening to watching the live stream or getting the recording later, you'll have until the 22nd, June 22nd to file a written comment. All right, if there's nothing else, we can adjourn the hearing. So thanks very much, everyone. Take care.